Okay, so continuing with the previous lecture, we have seen what a method is. Now, we saw that a method can take input and it can give an output. So, in programming terminology, the input that we give to a method, this is known as arguments. You can give one or more arguments. Sometimes these are also called parameters. And you can get some output, and this is known as your return value. Now, most programming languages, they allow only a single value to be returned, while there are some others which allows you to return more than one value. So, you have an input, a method which takes some input, may or may not take some input in the form of arguments and parameters, and may or may not give a return value. So, let's look at the syntax in Java. So, the syntax is something like this. The first thing that you give is the return type. Okay, so return type is the type or the data type of the value which is being returned. Then comes the name of the method. So, method name. Then comes parenthesis, okay, followed by an optional list of arguments. List of arguments. Now, this is optional. And then I will close the parenthesis. Okay, so again let us recap. We have the return type, that is the data type of the value which is returned by the function. Now you can see that this is not optional. This is not optional. Even though I have said that a function or a method may not return a value, but still this is not optional. So we'll come to this in a while. This is followed by the name of a method. Every method inside a program has to be unique, has to have a unique name. And then within these parentheses, I have an optional list of arguments. So this is nothing but the inputs that we give to our method. Then this whole thing together, that is this whole part, okay, this is known as the method header. This is known as the method header or the head of the method. Now this head of the method is followed by parenthesis, curly bracket and curly braces here. So whatever comes here inside this curly braces, this is the body of the method. This is the body of the method. So inside the body of the method, we will have to fill in the code which gets executed when this method is executed. So we have the method header and we have the body of the method. So let's look at an example. So a very simple example, I want to find the maximum of two numbers. Okay, or let's keep it even simpler, sum of two numbers. So sum of two numbers, integers. Okay, let's call it sum. Method is sum. Then comes the return type. So if I'm adding two integers, I'll get back an integer only. So return type, I'm giving it as int. So int is the return type. Sum here is the name of the method. Then parenthesis. So here now I have to give the list of arguments. So the list of arguments, I will just write it here below. List of arguments comes in this format. Okay, data type, argument name, followed by a comma. If there is any more, then again data type, argument name, and so on. You can have as many as you want. So here I want to give two numbers, say A and B, both integers. So my data type for the first one is int. So this data type is int, argument name is A, comma, I want to give a second one, so int B. I don't want to give any more. That's it. So this is my argument list. This whole thing here that you can see, this is my list of arguments. This is the return type, and this is the name of the method. Okay, now let's continue with this. So I have to give the body of the method. So for that I will just rub this part, because I want to write something here. Okay, sufficient. So here what I want to do, so I want to return the sum of A and B. So I can write it in one single line. A plus B I want to return. So I use the keyword return. So return A plus B. So this is going to return the value A plus B. So return here is a keyword. Return here is a keyword which will return the value, whatever value you give within brackets, it will return this. So this is a simple method to find the sum of two numbers. Now we have to call this method. This method will not get executed on its own. What you see here, this is known as the method definition. Method definition. Okay, or method declaration also it is called. Now we have to call this method. To call the method, okay, I have to, at some other place, in some other block of code, I have to call the method like this, sum, and then suppose I give 2 and 5. Okay, so these are the inputs to my method. So this value 2 will go to A, so A will get the value 2, B here will get the value 5. Okay, so A gets value 2, B gets value 5. So A is stored, 2 is here, 5 is here. So 7, so the value that is returned here will be 7. So 7 is returned. Okay, so this returns me the value 7, and this value is going to be stored in some variable here, say int s. So the value 7 will be stored in this variable. So what you see now here, this is called a method call. So when the method is called, then the control moves from this order. So from this point it will go to the body of the method. So it will come here, the control moves here, and then it starts executing the statements that are there inside the body of the method. And when it encounters return, the statement return, then the control moves back from here to the point where it was called from. So it was called from here, so the point control returns back to this point. So it returns 7, 7 will be stored in S, and then you can continue with the normal execution of this program. So this is a method definition and a method call.